We believe that for some reason or the other, we look for that. If you're feeling in the category of we, take the little thing. Remember, next time, put your finger where your mouth is. Pam, 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 pam. La da di da do di da do la. November 7th, I see black man cry. The blood still running from black people's eye. But I remember when a sunrise, African rise. And I beg black man, please open your eyes. While I was singing and busting me liver string, black man asking me where Atlantic play. Then they put their 14 finger on the shelf. So today, black man, you must blame yourself. Cause when I sing, they never listen to Coco say. Black man's mentality gone spectrum and PSA. Big lyrics I pushing, they wouldn't listen to me. Black man telling black man, oh black man, come out to party. I remember when I sing Sham, we don't want it. It's them black brothers say, Coco, you're singing shit. So today say, through my fault, while you strike your heart. Black man, all you look for that. I wonder why black man always want that kickstart. Black man, all you look for that. A man on a charge for interfering. Black man, all you still go and vote for him. Black man, how on earth you could condone this? Your daughter might have to work in this man's office. Then imagine this sex silver-headed pest. Quail fingers under your daughter's dress. Me ain't saying that Patrick should have win, sir, but eating trim baker would have been better. All them women who went betting the other day about this maniac, where all you have to say concerning this thing, all you silent and talking peace. So the office girls must be at the mercy of this peace. He was charged, so whether it is false or true, I'm concerned because I have a daughter too. I'm talking from your heart, I'm telling you, black man, oh, you look for that. Why black man always want a kickstart? Black man, oh, you. A man on a charge for interfering. Black man, all you still go and vote for him. Black man, how on earth you could condone this? Your daughter might have to work in this man's office. Then imagine this sex silver-headed pest. Quail fingers under your daughter's dress. Me ain't saying that Patrick should have win, sir, but eating trim baker would have been better. All them women who went betting the other day about this maniac, where all you have to say concerning this thing, all you silent and talking peace. So the office girls must be at the mercy of this peace. He was charged, so whether it is false or true, I'm concerned because I have a daughter too. I'm talking from your heart, I'm telling you, black man, oh, you look for that. Why black man always want a kickstart? One earth you could condone this. Your daughter might have. A man on a charge for interfering. Black man, all you still go and vote for him. Black man, how on earth you could condone this? Your daughter might have to work in this man's office. Then imagine this sex silver-headed pest. Quail fingers under your daughter's dress. Me ain't saying that Patrick should have win, sir, but eating trim baker would have been better. All them women who went betting the other day about this maniac, where all you have to say concerning this thing, all you silent and talking peace. So the office girls must be at the mercy of this peace. He was charged, so whether it is false or true, I'm concerned because I have a daughter too. I'm talking from your heart, I'm telling you, black man, oh, you look for that. Why black man always want a kickstart? Black man, oh, you look for that. La da di da do di da do da di da. Tobago, I am really surprised about you. But I realize, all you can catch two. Who would have believed both of them with a side with Bandit and give away Tobago's best holiday? How two of them could sit down on the wrong table and then give the best for the whole Tobago people. But all you cannot quarrel, all you cannot fret. That's where you ask for, that is where you get. At the Robinson on behalf of the African, with two seats first, you had the ball in your hand. I spoke to Leroy Clark and Capra Cambon. And up to now, I can't understand where went on. You went and was knighted up in Africa. But to your black brother, you prove a traitor. If I go back, I return and the shooting start. But you look for that. And if your daughter should cross the Prime Minister's path, well, you look for that. Black man, how on earth you could condone this? A man on a charge for interfering. Black man, all you still go and vote for him. Black man, how on earth you could condone this? Your daughter might have to work in this man's office. Then imagine this sex silver-headed pest. Quail fingers under your daughter's dress. Me ain't saying that Patrick should have win, sir, but even Trimbeka would have been better. All them women who went betting the other day about this maniac, where all you have to say concerning this thing, all you silent and talking peace. So the officers must be at the mercy of this beast. He was charged, so whether it is false or true, I'm concerned because I have a daughter too. I'm talking from your heart, I'm telling you, black man, oh, you look for that. Why black man always wants a kickstart? Black man, oh, you look for that. La da dee da da dee da da dee da. Tobago, I am really surprised about you, but I realize all you can catch two. Who would have believed both of them with a side with Bandit and give away Tobago's best holiday? How two of them could sit down on the wrong table and then give the best for the whole Tobago people? But all you cannot quarrel, all you cannot fret. That's where you ask for, that is where you get. At the Robinson on behalf of the African, with two seats first, you had the ball in your hand. I spoke to Leroy Clark and Capra Cambon. And up to now, I can't understand where went on. You went and was knighted up in Africa. But to your black brother, you prove a traitor. If I go back, I return and the shooting start. But you look for that. And if your daughter should cross the Prime Minister's path, well, you look for that. Remember slavery on the plantation? Massa used to use a black man to beat black man. So when I hear something, I got a pain. I say, oh God, black man go beat black man again. Because black man give black man soup, but black man won't harm. Black man intention is to pressure his own black man. He give them soup, they say he treat them like an outcast. So now black man takes smoke. At the Robinson on behalf of the African, with two seats first, you had the ball in your hand. I spoke to Leroy Clark and Capra Cambon. And up to now, them can't understand where went on. You went and was knighted up in Africa. But to your black brother, you prove a traitor. If I go back, I return and the shooting start. Oh, you look for that. And if your daughter should cross the PM's path, oh, you look for that.
Here we go. I was muted. Good evening and welcome to Politics 101. The Calypsonian Crow, the bad boy of Calypso. Quail finger on your daughter dress. What you ask for is what you get. You know, in 2020, when we tell them what you're signing up for is trouble. Regime change. The thing with regime change is when they give you the regime, they give you everything that comes with the regime. The last couple of months, you all begin to find them out big time. Some of us were telling you, finding them out all the time. You know? They side with Exxon against their own people and their own court. They buy votes, and people say they get crossover votes, and how they change in Guyana politics. And then we hearing it is alleged that they rape. I'm not saying one of them. It is alleged that the government raped a 16-year-old child. Because it's the government. It is alleged they raped a 16-year-old child. It is alleged that they went to the parents and try or they buy the silence of the parents, just like they buy votes. When you have regime change, that's what you get. Everything that comes with it. Out of control. Good evening to all of you all, and welcome to Politics 101 tonight. Rape in high places, alleged, because we don't want to get in trouble with the court. Alleged rape in high places. Alleged buying of silence in high places. A country or part of the country watch people buy votes like they used to buy slaves in the old days, and they call it crossover votes. They call it multiracial votes. What kind of country are you? What kind of country is this? And now they buy votes and you call it crossover votes. It is alleged the government raped a young Amerindian girl. And the government, it is alleged, buy the silence of the Amerindian girl. We're going down the road. David Hines is a racist. David Hines don't like the government. They're doing their do. I want them on the other side. Defend this government. You hear what Crow said? All them women who went to Beijing. What you all saying? The police who running and charging people about putting down flag. And then you have a government that say, the man come to me and ask me for administrative leave. What kind of government are you? It is alleged that a minister, not David Hines, not an individual citizen, a minister who was taking the oath of office, rape a child, and you wait for the minister to come and tell you, boss, send me on leave. You see why I call that president a nasty, short-tail little boy? If you were a real president, you aren't waiting for no little boy come to you. and ask you for leave, you knock it off and call the police in. Good evening. I spent the afternoon in my village, Buxton. I was happy to be born a Buxtonian. I went into a funeral of a young man who served the army of this country, served his village, served young women, Grantley Laundry, Samuels, late arrest today. And as usual, I took the time to meet my villagers and have a word with them, and sat down with some of my old friends and talk. And the talk of the village was this atrocity. And they all wanted to know who I got on tonight. And I said, I have a warrior on tonight. Nigel London. And they tell me, so what? Twilly, is a bad man. And I've been with some bad Buxtonians. When I say bad, I don't mean bad as in bad, but terror. Good evening to my friend Ingrid King. I was hanging out with people like Orin Newton Bumba, and my friend Mojo and that here and Andrew Zap. And everybody was talking about the alleged rape in high places. Good evening, Buxton. Good evening. The preacher preached today in the service about always saying we love. Well, you know, on this program, I always tell you all, I love you all. I love you all. Good evening, Guyana. Good evening, Guyana. Good evening, Guyanese, wherever you are. Rape, alleged rape, and cover up in high places. I have another Buxtonian here tonight, Sir Dion. Sir Dion. Well, the other Buxton knows Sir Dion. Was once a village chairman. So we're going to talk tonight. We're going to start off with this atrocity. You see, when you allow the government to get away with little things, they believe they can get away with big things. Guyana, call to action. When I tell the Buxtonians are getting Apostle night, they say, the man travel from Mackenzie and come down to Georgetown, he alone, and stand up. And I tell them, that man must have the spirit of Buxton in him. And I know you all looking tonight because you all say, I'm going from funeral for watch tonight. And we're out in large numbers already and the program hasn't started yet. The program hasn't started yet. Let me bring in my guests. Boxman, good night.
Good night, Dr. Hines.
How are you doing? You can't remember my false name there, boy.
All right, Willie.
Apostle London.
Greetings to you, Mr.
All the Buxtonians talking about you tonight. When I tell them, they say, who you get tonight? I said, get Nigel. Don't say, by the man from Mackenzie alone. He come down, he stand up there. Good evening.
Good evening to you and to those of you who are viewing as well. My father actually lived in Buxton for quite a while, and my grandfather, so I guess I have the right to be called a Buxtonian.
There you go. There you go. There you go. There you go. Look, look, they gotta buy Kimani Nehusi. He from Queenstown, Essequibo. He came to teach in Buxton as a young teacher. And he became so much part of the village that when them big people see them ask you, who family, that is who family? He became so much a Buxtonian that everybody thought he was a Buxtonian. And as usual, old people then recognize young people go there and say, who your family? And you have to explain to them, the boy come from Essequibo, but you walk like a boxman, you talk like boxman, you act like boxman. And today, Kimani is known more as a Buxtonian than a man from Queenstown. Welcome, brothers, tonight.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let me start with you, Apostle, because as they told me in the village, you come down from Mackenzie. Because they not say Linden. When they're ready for go down, tell us he come down from Mackenzie.
Mackenzie. Yeah.
And he stand up here alone, protesting. Talk to me, Apostle London. What moved you to take that action?
Well, thank you. And I was there. I came from Mackenzie. I was the only one who came from Linden here. But there were about 2 or 3 other individuals who came and stood with me. Initially, 2, then another 2. So before other people, 3 women and 1 man. But I took the time to travel from Linden to stand in front of State House, which is owned by us, to register serious concerns about this matter and to demand that Irfan Ali, who's a servant of the people of Guyana, that he should act in a manner that speaks to him being responsible. I am unsurprised to say that I failed because he's yet to act in a responsible manner. Dharam Lal served in cabinet at the behest of Irfan Ali. Whether Jagdeo is de facto president, it doesn't matter to me. I'm saying that on record, on the books, Irfan Ali appoints the cabinet, and therefore he has the right to disappoint anyone who's in the cabinet. He has failed to do that. He has failed to do this, and because of my being aware of the nature of the people that we're dealing with, I knew that it took my leaving Linden to head to Georgetown, to take a public stance, to register as a man in this country. My ire, my rage, and my demands that this matter regarding this allegation must not just be dealt with as just another case. So I said on Friday, I think it was, listen, it seems as if Georgetown doesn't want to act. And some folk in the city do not want to act. So I leave Linden and I'll go to stand there as a man, maybe to show some men what you should do to represent the interests of our little girls. Bearing in mind, finally, that 19 of them were burnt alive in Mahdia along with a boy. And this same Ali is yet to act. So I didn't just go by this one girl here. There are now 20 girls in question and a boy, who in my view have all been killed, because you cannot say that somebody, if it's true, would have suffered at the hand of a grown man something as dastardly as this, and she's alive inside tonight. That's why I stood.
Dion Abrams, you're a teacher. You may be retired now, but once a teacher, always a teacher. When you heard this story about a child, a student, what went through your mind?
Well, the reflection is on the fact that it has happened again, because we know that Dharam Lal has a history of doing things that are not necessarily in keeping with the norms of things. We go back to the time when he was the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Amerindian Affairs, and he abused the leaders of the 2 shows of the Amerindian community, treating them like children. And then the other incident where the 22-year-old young lady made some allegations against him. And so my take on it was, here it is again, another incident, and nothing will come of it. My reasoning for that is because of the nature of the PPP and what it has been doing. Nigel just pointed out that the president fails to act when he needs to. And he has failed to act in the instance of Jagdeo, and the Sue matter. He failed to act in other instances. And so I have a sense that, my reasoning is that this travesty will be another one that will be pushed under the rug. So I wasn't surprised when I heard an individual commenting on the social media, and he seems to have the know, that the parents of the child and so on contacted a group of lawyers, and one of the lawyers actually got on to ministers of the government. These are female ministers, and they in turn called the family in with the minister in their presence, and he went on his knees and begged, and some $10 million were passed to have the story retracted. So this is an allegation that the person made, and he seems to be in the know. So Nigel's attempt at pushing a direction for action, I don't know. You see, the PPP plays on the longevity of people's memories. Guyanese tend to have a way of having an issue in the air for a period, and then it blows over. And so all of the things that they're talking about now that are taking place, that they are alleging to be doing, are just a matter of flossing the entire situation. And at the end of the day, we will hear nothing.
Dion Abrams there, and come back to you, Brother Nigel. Look, you alluded to the fact, Nigel London, that the president has not acted presidential. I made reference to the fact that the government just came out of a local government election where they are accused with a lot of evidence of buying votes. And some people are referring to buying votes as getting crossover votes, as making Guyana multiracial again. And here you have this story of a child making accusations. Then you hear that the child withdraw the accusations. Then you hear of the government trying to buy the silence. And I'm stressing the government because I'm saying this minister here is part of the government. And it seems that the government itself is involved in what is going on. Nigel, are we having a crisis, a deep crisis of personal morality, but more than that, public governmental morality in this country?
We do have that crisis, and the arms and the various bodies within the state that have failed this girl, in reference to the reports that we're receiving, are numerous. And as a result, I stood today as well here in London with others, and we demanded that not just Dharmlal should go. Priya Manik-Chand, for example, as Minister of Education, had the nerve, being an attorney, who said, and it's true, that she was one who helped to frame the law, the Sexual Offences Act. And nowhere in her statement that she issued days after the situation came to the fore, that the right thing to do, if a child claims that she was raped and sodomized by this man, was to contact law enforcement. The Minister of Education claims that she had a date set in the future to have a conversation with this girl. Which law affords that person in Priya Manik-Chand the right to do that? Then we have Robeson Ben being the Minister of Home Affairs, who has yet to even make a statement that speaks to his interest in this matter being dealt with the way it should. There's a superintendent, and I have the letter here before me, or the document, where this girl is said to have gone in Region 2 and just issued this statement out of the blue, parts of which I will read, excerpts of which I will read, that She is 16, born on the 16th of September. Her father's name was given, mother's name was given, according to this document that's typewritten. I'm a juvenile and I don't lie. I believe in God, and I know if I lie, I'll be punished by the Almighty. She said that someone brought it to attention that there's a Facebook post about Dharamlal. This is where she's retracting here. The crux of this is, the child then says that I hereby certify that this statement was taken from me in the presence of my mother. Listen to the language, Guyanese people, and those in diaspora as well, home and abroad. The statement was taken from me. Now, my question is, why would Superintendent Shivbaran take a statement from this child? For what? No complaint was leveled by Dharamlal that his name is being smeared in the public. Nobody's meant to report, as far as I'm aware, that somebody's doing wrong. Hence, this situation has to come to the superintendent. Why would a superintendent take a statement from a 16-year-old child in the absence of anyone from Child Care Protection Agency, because it's a rape allegation on the table here, in the absence of one from Vijay Prasad's ministry? So there's so many players involved here that we definitely have on our hand in Guyana a crisis in reference to the moral compass of the administration, which people call the government. The PPP administration, based on their behavior, is proving to me that they function best in corruption and immorality. Because Charan Das, when he said to the woman that she wants a doctor, Ali also waited for Charan Das to suggest that he should come home. Because it seems as though the worse you behave for Ali, the better off, for the more luxuries you have to make decisions. He didn't wait when it comes to certain things with other people. He was demanding swift justice. He called a commission of inquiry into elections and never allowed to go to the court. But he cannot yet even name a body to investigate what happened to the girls in Madhya in the fire, and in this case with this young lady. He said that he saw what all of us saw, Dr. Hines. He said he didn't see the letter, but he saw what everybody on social media saw. Now, if you could be president, paid to be president, and could see what we all saw, how did you not do your normal Facebook broadcast? When the people were walking and the issue occurred at the Manipur market, within minutes you did a live broadcast on Facebook. You didn't wait. When there was another issue at hand, you jumped and did another live broadcast. But when you have seen what we all saw, a girl saying that this Dharamlal rolled her over and penetrated her in, and I'm saying this for you to hear how sickening this is. Ali is yet to do one broadcast on social media. So I would like to think, based on my observation, that this young man functions best around people who are immoral and vile.
But Dr. Hines,
yes, go ahead.
You have to take into consideration that the police, I mean, their conduct in the whole affairs, because the last thing I read, they're suggesting that, they have no reports really, that it's an allegation that was made on, that the statements were made on Facebook, and they seem not to be inclined to launch an investigation because they are probably relying on what Brother Nigel said, that this is a denial, and this denial is what will suffice. So we don't, like I said, all of the shenanigans are directed towards pushing the entire issue under the rug, right? And it is basically what they do, okay? And I'm surprised that so far that Jagdeo has said nothing, because he is always pontificating, like Brother London said. Irfan is quick to jump on the media whenever things happen, and Jagdeo is even quicker to respond. Recently, it is alleged that when the bandits escaped from the Mazruni prison, that it is alleged that his order was that they should be shot and killed, that they should not be taken alive. So decisions are made promptly and swiftly in one direction. It's the same case with Brother Ogun and all of the other people at Golden Grove and all of these things. But when it has to do with matters pertaining to elements of the government, then it's a totally different ball game. How even-handed is justice in the society? It's only justice for one set of people. But those who are in the echelons of government are exempted from any justice, any act of the law.
And you're quite right. This is a man that stood in the parliament, the National Assembly, the home of the legislative branch, and said to female lawmakers, story about using dildo.
Yes.
I mean, and he got away with it. I'm with you, Brother Dion. Stay with me, Dion. Stay with me. Stay with me, Brother Dion. Stay with me. Stay with me. This is a man that brought into the parliament, the National Assembly, the language of the worst in us, and got away with it.
Yes.
And I'm saying this government has taken Guyana to a place that we have never been before. I use the morality. We've had dictatorships in Guyana before. But somehow or the other, we managed to keep a certain kind of morality. I never heard about dildo in Burnham's parliament. And you know, we fought against Burnham for all kinds of atrocities. But under this government, that man stood or sat or whatever he did in the National Assembly and insulted women. And now we hear that he has allegedly raped a child. Are we surprised? Brother London, help me out there. Help me out.
Thank you. And thank you for making reference to that dildo situation, because I, among many others, would have been seeking to have Dharmlal removed. More than that, I wondered how could it be possible for Manzoor Nadir, being the speaker of such a noble house, how could Nadir look at that and completely bypass that, but saw the behavior or the conduct of Sherrod Duncan, who was responding to something?
Yeah.
And that kind of negligence and failure to act, even by the Speaker of the Assembly, lent itself to my saying then, which I will say now, that even the House of Assembly or the Parliament of this country is being desecrated by immoral creatures who are empowered to do better. I said that if I were Duncan or I were a male in Parliament, I would not have said something to Dharmlal when he told the woman, somebody's husband, that she needs a dildo. I'll punch him. And I mean it.
Yeah.
I would knock him out cold. Because that brat doesn't know how to respect people. But when he can see that that conduct of his, again, Irfan Ali, being the one who appoints the cabinet, couldn't act, couldn't even reprimand him. And even worse, the women in the PPP said absolutely nothing. Therefore, my reasoning stands to be that if this could happen, then more than likely, someone who may have the proclivity to do worse, because you already exhibited perversion by telling a woman she wants a dildo, then maybe that can encourage someone to say, well, listen, if I do these things, nobody speaks against me. Nobody chastises me. None of my own turns against me. So maybe I have the luxury to do what I have to do. And let us not forget that his portfolio gives him scope to traverse the entire nation. His portfolio gives him scope to put foot in every neighborhood democratic council, every regional department, every municipality in this country. So he has got a wide 83,000 square miles to deal with. And nobody would chastise him. No. Therefore, I'm saying that this conduct right here, as is alleged, is encouraged And that's why I'm speaking the way I'm speaking. Because if he were a little angel, I would say, now this accusation is really strange. And I find it strange that you can accuse someone of his caliber, such an upright citizen of such. But in this case, I find it strange if nobody else comes forward by tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah. I watched Priya Manikchan on a program. Said she used to have respect for people like David Hines. And she named some other WPA men and women. And that after 2020, because we didn't go along with regime change, she has lost respect for us. That's our view. This Priya Manikchan stood in a National Assembly, surrounded by black men, black lawmakers, and shouted for rape. And here is this same woman, where one of her colleagues is alleged to have raped a child. You lost respect for David Hines. He never raped a child or was alleged to have raped a child. But one of your colleagues, and you have not lost respect for him. You have not come out and said, tell the police. Forget about all the child protection and all of that. This is a crime. An alleged crime. Arrest him and let the law take its course. The least you could do, Priya. The least, you who stood up in Parliament and shouted for rape, and who said you lost respect for men who aren't rapists. And now one of your own is alleged to rape, and you stand dancing. Dion Abrams, take it away.
But, man, we got to understand the nature of the elements that we are dealing with. If you check the track record of the people, we had, what was it? The other one, Lal, and they've always been doing, is Kelwan or something.
Yes.
Right. And the history is that they are allowed. Look, recently you had people who are aligned to them. They do things. You had, what's his name? The owner of the sheriff. It is alleged that he assaulted a young man in the police station and had his weapon taken away by the young man. Nothing came out of that. All right. So the general tendency of the elements in the PPP is that they can do things and nothing will happen. All right. Whenever these things happen, I mean, I have to always fall back on Jagdeo because he maligns the Human Rights Association, he maligns Red Thread, all of the other organizations. Once they're not on his bandwagon, he shouts out that where are they? What is the, they're partisan and they're this and they're that. And we are still to hear from him calling out the Hindu Dharmic Sabha, the MY, Muslim Youth Organization, and all these other organizations to come out and speak out against. Even the Amerindian, the Tushaus Council and all of these agencies, because he is always shouting for people to give support whenever there is something he believes, is a travesty to him and to the PPP. But now, he's not calling for anybody to say anything.
Yeah, and what it points to is that we are in the presence of a government like we have never seen before. This is beyond just an authoritarian government. This is a fascist government. This is a government with no morality. This gentleman who is alleged to have raped this child, this is a man that stand up and talk about dildo, as we said. This is a man that gerrymandered districts.
Thank you.
And the court upheld it. The court upheld it. This man gerrymandered districts. This man has been carrying on and doing as he likes. And nobody, not even the institutions in this country, stopped him, and now look where he has gone. And while we're at it, let's be fair here. The Amerindian community just suffered. As Brother London has reminded us, the loss of 20 lives. So many families affected. So many communities. Now an Amerindian child is being assaulted. And it's not a crisis in this country. Sisters and brothers, you all better take note of the kind of country that we are living in. This is not normal politics. If we are trying to find normal language to describe what we are in the presence of, it's because it's not normal. Here is the president saying, the minister came to me and asked me for administrative leave. What kind of president are you? You are the president of this country. You took oath. A child is accusing one of your ministers of raping her. After 20 children were murdered by the state under your watch. Now another child is being assaulted, allegedly, by a member of your, and you're waiting on the man to come and ask you for administrative leave. Nigel London.
Please, and Dr. Hines, since you raised this term, and your viewers may wonder why you're so angry at the term administrative leave. And I want to make this clear for them. Daramlal requested not to resign.
That's right.
Until his name is clear, like with Corbyn's situation. Corbyn requested in the first place.
That's right.
Hoyt said you have to go until this matter is settled.
Yes.
I think Rashid Jackson said, listen, my son is involved in something or is accused of this. I'm backing off. I don't want to put a stain on the image of my country. This creature has the nerve to request, if people don't know what administrative leave is, it's called excused absence. You do not lose pay. You simply don't go to work. This man is allowed to not be at work, but we, the taxpayers, must keep paying him while he's being investigated. And Irfan Ali is saying that was granted, or the report is saying that was granted. This should anger any normal person, because if I were working and I'm accused of raping somebody, I don't have the liberty of having administrative leave or requesting it. I'm gone, more than likely in Guyana, in certain circles. But Daramlal, who's employed by us, he's a public servant, can tell the president what he wants. Because it seems as though, in reference to the stories I hear about him, and that which I see in reference to his conduct as well, that this boy was not raised to respect anybody or anything called law and order. He must have been raised to do whatever he wants, and now he believes, with Jack Dio's silence as well, that he may be the chosen one to be disrespectful, to be crass, and to behave as if he has no sense. To leave. He wants to be paid while he's investigated. I have breaking news. Somebody just sent me that he has been arrested.
Yes. So
and that's not enough.
Yes.
That is not enough. That is not even remotely close to being enough, because the way has been paved for him to be arrested, as far as I'm concerned, as a sham. And the others who should be arrested. And the only thing that should save Irfan Ali tonight is that he cannot be arrested because police wouldn't do it. But he should be arrested too. Because if he said that he saw what we saw, and he could not act until Mosley called him, Gordon Mosley, and said, there's something out here, what's going on? And then he said, I don't have a letter, I just saw what everybody else saw, and he's waiting for facts. He should be arrested. Pre-Manik Chan should be arrested, because Guyanese don't know, but in the Bahamas, when I got there, a Guyanese teacher, when I just landed in the country to teach, was in jail. And I was told, be careful, sir, if a Bahamian child, comes to tell you that she or he was sexually abused, you go straight to the police, not the principal, not the parent, not child services. If you fail to inform the police, you shall be arrested, you shall be put before the court, and you shall go to jail. Now, how does Guyana have such privileges whereby Pure can say that the child was supposed to meet with them at a later date and the date has not yet arrived? Hence, the police is not involved. What manner of foolishness is this? There are people who should be arrested along with Dharamlal. So I'm not going to stop this fight at Dharamlal. The state is not Dharamlal. From Irfan Ali has to go.
Yes.
He failed the child.
Yes, yes, yes. And Brother Dion Abrams, stay with us here. I know sometimes we get caught up in the comments, but stay with us here. Look, if any one of the three of us here was accused even remotely of anything to do with sexual offense, we would be so much in jail long before tonight. Long before
the
tonight.
Cameras around.
But yes. And I want you all to be with that. Dion, and I know, like all of us, we expect pessimism, but it's because of what Apostle did, and because of what other activists did on social media. We are at the point, if it is true that he's been arrested, that we've got, and we cannot keep the bar low. No. We have to continue to press on these matters and bring to bear people's power on this government, because we are at a critical juncture in the history of our country. And I know some of you are asking, I invited a woman to be on the panel tonight. She couldn't make it. She said for reasons, medical reasons, and it was too late for me to get a replacement. So I apologize for not having a woman here tonight, but I would never do a program like this without a woman. It was too late for me to get a replacement, because when she replied to me, it was too late. But on Wednesday, I'm going to have an all-woman panel to deal with this issue. So I'm not insensitive to the gender issue, but I felt that if 3 men can witness for a young woman, it makes an even bigger statement.
Yes.
Because we always believe that women should stand up for women, but men have an even greater responsibility to stand up on these issues. Dion Abrams, you were a teacher, you are a teacher, and you were in the classroom. And this is a child, this is a student. Take us into the mind, because I've been grappling with this. Take us into the mind of a child, a 15, 16-year-old child being exposed to the kind of power of government and state that this man represents. Take us in the mind of this young woman, because you have taught 15 and 16-year-olds. Both of you have. And I want you all to help us here tonight. Go ahead, Dion, you first.
The understanding is, you talked about his power, his reach. He has authority invested in him by nature, by virtue of his status. And obviously, he is relying on that power, not only the power of status, but power of age and maturity and all of that, which you're dealing with a 15-year-old who doesn't have that kind of development, both physically, psychologically, and so on. And so by imposing himself on the child in that way, he has used authority that he has to commit an act that in essence has basically stripped that child of whatever she might have had in terms of her personality or character and every other thing. And the use of power in that way is basically out of the world. And I don't know, but the response to it is what we have to be concerned about. hopefully, you know, the necessary interventions by the child services and so on will be given, because in other societies, as soon as something like that happens, the child is taken into some kind of protective care and given the kind of psychological reinforcement that is needed. But we have heard no such thing taking place. All right, so that is basically a damage on the child, something. And when you hear women speak about being raped, it is something that they say that it lives with them forever. All right, and we can expect this child to be having that experience, to the extent that some of them even say that they don't want to see men anymore. It creates in them that kind of hatred and lack of affection for men because of situations like those.
Yeah, yeah. And before I go to you, Apostle, yes, the report is confirmed there. I'm reading from Demerara Waves.
Yeah.
Just a few moments ago, the Guyana Police Force wishes to confirm that an investigation has been launched in relation to an allegation of rape against the Minister of Local Government, Mr. Nigel Dharamlal. As a consequence, on Monday, the 19th day of June 2023, Mr. Dharamlal presented himself at the Brigdam Police Station in the company of his attorney, where he was told of the allegation and subsequently arrested. The probe is ongoing. I'm reading there from Demerara Waves, breaking news. Apostle, your comment based on the question of trying to take us into the mind of that child, that student, but also your comments on a confirmation that the gentleman was arrested.
Thank you, Dr. Hines, for the question. Being one who served in education for 18 years, many people don't know that I did that. And I also serve as a principal in the Bahamas. I'm quite familiar with cases less severe, but I still see the danger that abuse poses, especially in the mind of a child, and a female one, abused by a male. And thinking of a child who's 15 years old, indigenous in this case, as they would be referred to, having a grown man sodomize her. It is not just raping the person in reference to vaginal penetration or oral sex or fingering the child. This is where she said, based on the report, the person said, that she was sodomized. And when she was screaming no, he said, shut the F up.
Yeah.
Let us not forget. Then would have the nerve to say, according to the report, you're mine now because I'm your first. So if he knew that she was, or he, according to the report, was the first, let's not forget the pain she would have been, the anguish she would have suffered. And then to know that this is all being done by somebody who's called a minister in government. Let me take you to the mind of that child if I can. And if that, I know that potential would happen. She's seeing him on the news. Local government election, his face will feature because he's the minister responsible for local government. He's featuring all around the place, and he's being made in certain media circles to be this powerful being who has so much authority to direct how things will go in Guyana. Imagine that child having to look at him, who also had a part to play in participating in a pageant. Mm-hmm. And there are more pageants to come. She may be sitting thinking, now hold on, September is coming, December is coming, October is coming, there may be another pageant here, but he do this to another girl. So this child has got a plethora of pain to feel. And I'm happy when he spoke to the three men being on the program tonight, because she also, according to the report, has a father.
Yeah.
A father to whom, according to the report, she is apologizing and said, Daddy and Mommy, I'm sorry that I have to put you through this and I have to reveal this. How can you be sorry for revealing this? Because in her mind, she knows that this is going to take a whole spin that would include a family and probably disgrace to them in her little mind. So it took much out of her. And that's why I said that 20 were burnt alive, 20 children were burnt alive in Madhya, but one was killed if this is true, at the hand of the state. Not Dharamlal,
Yes.
the state. Because transitioning to what you asked about this report, Dharamlal turned himself in, according to police force, with his attorney, so that an investigation can be launched. The police said to us that there's no report made, so they can do nothing. So how can you turn yourself in the absence of a report? They're making a mockery of this whole thing, and it's a sham. He will not spend 72 hours in the lockup. They didn't hold him on Friday, as they do me and you, to ensure we don't get bail until Monday.
Yes.
See? This is a sham. If the police said yesterday when I left State House protesting on Saturday, they said, hold on, in the evening they issued a statement that if Dharamlal has, or the girl issues a report, then they can act. Well, we don't know of any report being issued. Can you please come and tell us the truth? The Blossom Foundation in Region 2, as is reported, they interviewed the girl, it's reported, and she said, after recanting with this policeman, she said, no. Everything I said is the truth. And my parents were paid $10 million. And we were told that that report would be submitted to the police. This is yesterday. And by today, they had better act. So there's so many elements at work here, but I want to put Clifton Hicken on notice. If your officer said that in the absence of a report, Dharamlal cannot be arrested, what is he doing at the station?
That's right. And viewers, I want you all to notice where we are going with this thing here tonight. We are saying that this matter is not just about an individual man raping a child. It's that, but it's more than that. This man represents the government of this country.
Thank you.
Represents the government of this country. This man is a lawmaker. He's a member of the legislative branch. He's a member of the executive branch of this country. This man just took it upon himself to gerrymander boundaries for the election. This man stood in the parliament and insulted women across the aisle with language about dildo. This is no ordinary man that is being accused of this offense. This is a powerful man. We are saying it's not Dharamlal that is on trial here. It's Dharamlal as part of a government that has almost total control of the institutions of the government. I want us to take it there. We are saying that the police have failed this nation. Because if any ordinary little boy, Amerindian boy, or African boy, or Indian boy was accused of what this man is accused, the police would go on and pick them up a long time. The police have failed us. We are saying the women in the PPP have failed this country. Priya Manichan said, if someone accused a person of rape, she believes it. Well, if you believe it, why not say, I resign from this government until this man is taken into custody?
Exactly.
The women in the PPP have failed this country, have failed young school children who must now be fearful, because if Dharamlal is accused and he gets this treatment, what is there to protect young women? What is there to protect young women? So where we're going with this, sisters and brothers, it's not just about Dharamlal, the individual. After all, he is alleged to have committed this offense. We give him that. You're innocent until proven guilty. But we are saying if any other man outside of the PPP hierarchy, if that kind of evidence was out there in the public, we would have been lost away. Brother Dion, stay with me. Brother Dion, stay with me. Stay with me. I know you the comments are riveting, but stay with me, because I want you in on this. And I want you all to understand that we have gotten where we have gotten this evening, not because of the police, not because of the government, not because of the president, not because of the women in the PPP, but in spite of them. And we have to make sure that this is not a sham. Dion Abrams, come on in.
But you see, the thing is, the PPP responds only after action is taken by the masses. And we notice that even in every sphere, the WPA has experienced it recently when it was coming up to the local government elections, that every time we went to a community and we outlined the devious nature of the PPP, their attempts to take away Afro-Guyanese lands, their possibly working towards rigging the elections and all of these things, that they went to all these communities afterwards, you know, as preachers who are willing to give gifts and who are demonstrating love and so on. But we know that their intent was never there. All right. So for every action that goes against the law and the grain, people have to respond in a way that spells an outcry in order for them to come out with anything that is a semblance of taking action in, you know, response to people's calls. And so this is no different. The activism of Brother London and all of the other persons who have spoken would have driven them to this point. And it is only a vigilance in terms of this activism that will keep the pressure on them to make some kind of slight concessions like this arrest. And we don't know how far it will go, because we know that, like I said, things seem to happen. It seems to be going in a particular direction. And as soon as it quiets down, then you hear nothing. So the people will have to continue to press forward.
Yes.
If
yes.
anything is going to come out of it.
Yes, we have to. And I noticed Isole saying she's just fed up. And you look, man. I mean, you have to be, when you look around and see what our country has become. I mean, young people are telling me that they think this country cross. You know, you don't have to believe in witchcraft and all those things, but like our country is driving us there, because they say, look at what is happening in this country as soon as these people come to power. All kinds of accident, all kinds of fire, all kinds of rape, these things are seem to increase. And you can't blame people for thinking it's witchcraft. And we have to take time, as we have doing here, and to say, it may be witchcraft, but what it is the breakdown of law and order, the breakdown of morality, the breakdown of norms that you all are witnessing. Mm-hmm. It's not witchcraft. It's the breakdown of norms once these people come to office. And we want to understand that those 2020 elections were not about who got elected to government and who not got elected to government. Is what Guyana would look like. And those who went ahead, external and internal forces, in 2020, they are ultimately responsible for what all these ills that we are seeing here, including this latest atrocity. Apostle London, I know you don't disagree with that thesis.
I do not, and I must, before I proceed in discussing the thesis of yours, which is quite sensible. You were mentioning how you'll be treated. when I stood in front of State House, owned by Guyanese people, with my phone in my hand, 2 arms, as I say, 2 long hands, just a phone, speaking to my concern as a father, members of the Guyana Police Force in about four or five vehicles came out, one of them bearing a high-powered rifle, others having their pistols. Imagine now, this is me, with 3 women.
Yeah.
The other man had to go. I was standing there, the women were a little bit off of me, and they surrounded me.
There you go.
One having a high-powered rifle, just for standing, not even in front of the gate, way in the middle of the boulevard. And that was a problem. Dharm Lal has the luxury of walking into the police station to say, I'm here. And we talking about one Guyana. I was no threat to anyone. And look at how I was treated. He's accused of destroying the life of a child. And look at how he is treated. But the thesis of yours is so profound and so important and so critical that I cannot disagree with it. Our country is being taken down a road because of irresponsible people like Sarah Ann Lynch. And I can name them. I don't need your visa. Chatterjee, Gregory Quinn. And I think Edward is the other one from the European Union. You people and those in the Caribbean who can't talk about the modifier yet, who can't speak about what Ali was doing in reference to people's land being bulldozed. And the young man Lennon today, they want his land so badly that they've pushed down over 200 sub trees, bulldoze his garden, knock everything down, then tell him we'll give you 2 house lots and $2 million because somebody wants the land. This is the result of a decision made in 2020.
Yeah.
And this is not my supporting PNC. I don't, but I support what is called good governance.
That's right.
And we're seeing the result of people who know that something was wrong. They took power and now they're abusing it. Further, I say that when Guyanese can observe, even in this high-profile matter, how strategic elements and arms of the state are to get us to think that they're doing something. When we consider doing nothing, our country is in peril. And requires forces like us, men. That's why I stood. And that's why I'm saying I'm happy to have 3 of us here. Because men must come forward. Where are men on a mission? There were so many men campaigning for PPP in Linden and in Georgetown. And not one of y'all could come out to say, this is madness. This accusation cannot be taken lightly because I have a daughter. So I'm not standing against Dharm Lal. You hear me talking about Priya? I have nothing personal against Priya. I will call Priya now and talk to her and say, listen, I have a problem with what you did, not with you as a person, individual. But your actions in your office upset me. And she must be mature enough to understand what I'm saying to her. I don't know them personally, but I know their actions affect me because they govern. But here's my question based on what you were asking, Dr. Hines. And I'll ask every one of the viewers here and those of you watching in any other part of the world, and I dare you all to answer. If Jack Dio, let me go this way, Dharm Lal is accused of rape and sodomizing this girl. And look at how he's treated. I want you all to tell me if Jack Dio is accused of rape and sodomy. How do you think he'll be treated? Because if Dharm Lal could get this kind of treatment, you all tell me if Jack Dio gets accused, how do you think police will act? Now, based on your answer, if you're truthful, you'll see why we're in problems.
Yes, sisters and brothers, I'm glad you all have come out in such big numbers tonight. I usually have light banter with my brother, Sherrod, and I tell him when he has to buy me a beer because the numbers are large tonight. We have right now I'm looking at 3,057 of you live. 3,057 of you live here on this program for the last hour and a half. And I want to say thanks to you all. And I want to say we love you all. And I want to say that we have to move beyond just elections, that you all only get, enraged and fired up just at election time. And I love that you all did that and you all were able to beat back the PPP and the quest for taking over those three places, Georgetown, Linden, and New Amsterdam. And I intended to talk with the brothers tonight about that, but we going to keep it on what's his name. I want you all to recognize that we have a duty to be enraged, righteously enraged every single day. And you all know that I love you all, but sometimes you all get caught up in the party politics. There's a place for that. Right. This issue here tonight is beyond party. This issue is that none of your children, school children, none of them is safe. If you're not safe from those who are entrusted to protect them, that is what the government is supposed to do, to protect the welfare. This man is part of a government to protect the welfare, Brother Dion. And if our children, Brother Dion, stay off the comments and stay with me, right? You know, if your children are not safe with Dharamlal, are they safe with other men? This here is beyond party politics. And it says to us that we have to remain engaged. Don't just come out, 3,000 of you live here tonight, and then tomorrow night I only seen 1,000 of you. I want us to stay put, because we are in trouble as a country. And every day we have seen that we are in trouble. Those big strapping men at Linden, as my brother said here tonight, who stood up and were delivering their sisters and their brothers over to the modern slave masters. They are also accused of delivering this little schoolgirl to this man of power. All of them who went and cast an X near the PPP at this local government election, they are guilty of this alleged crime. It's not that they didn't know. Even if you said, I want to go to the PPP, I want to go to them, but my God, when you think of her in Boston, when you think of Quindon Bacchus, when you think of the men and women whose houses were bulldozed in Linden, in Hillfoot, in Georgetown, in Mocha Arcadia, how could you put your ex next there? You all are so guilty of betraying this child and other children in our country, Dion Abrams.
Saying that they are guilty might not resonate with the PPP. You're dealing with people.
Talk to them, not the PPP. We talk to them.
Okay, because
I would like you to talk to them, Brother Dion, not the PPP. The PPP is beyond redemption.
Okay, so well, it means therefore that those people, you see, it's a problem with our people who seem to believe that their salvation is in receiving a little bit of a, what do you call it, handouts. And my children made a comment on Facebook that a lot of these people whom we are talking about now, who would have gone to vote and so on for the PPP, are people who actually spend their time doing nothing. They don't look for a job. They are not interested in seeing themselves developed. I know, for in fact, one guy in my community who went to Canada and lived for years. He came back here basically scrunting for survival. He has joined the PPP. So you're dealing with elements, a lot of them, who see salvation in just getting and not working for it. All right. But it's a sad thing, because what it does, it sends a message that we are all the same. And so when we voted against them in that strongly, because Jack Dio pontificated that we're going to take Georgetown, we're going to take Linden. So he had that vision in his mind that we are gullible like those of whom we speak. And so the message was so resoundingly clear that we see them falling back now, that the president himself is saying that he's establishing institutions to deal with bringing all of the people together in the different localities and the communities and so on. They understand now that people are not as stupid and gullible as they believe they were. And so we have to keep pressing. And a lot of that response had to do with the education of our people through programs like these, Sherwood, Kedaki, and so on. And we have to keep pressing forward. That every time, you know, they take us for granted, that we make people aware of the schemes that they're planning, and this whole idea of blaming. He's talking about blaming one of the APNU candidates for telling Black people that they're going to take away their lands and do them all kinds of things in Georgia. You can't be saying that you're blaming people for things that you are already doing. You're already in the communities, seizing the co-ops from the people. You declared through the Minister of Labor that you are going to take away Black people's lands in the co-ops, and you've inserted yourselves into all of the co-ops across the country throughout the legitimate agencies, the leadership of those co-ops, and inserted people whom you can direct to hand those lands over to you. You've bulldozed the people of Mokwa. Even at Haslington, you went there, Nandalal went there, agreed that the land belonged to the people, to the co-op, and then put up a sign saying that it's government land and it's earmarked for the use. So you've already begun to do things to the people of African descent in this country, and then you're saying that you're blaming other people, you know, making it appear as though they are the fault for saying exactly what you're doing. It's madness. I mean, something is wrong with the mind of Jagdeo and those people. They're I don't know what to say, but they're not normal people.
They're not normal people, and that is why. That is why we got to stay on them until we see the backs of them. They're not normal people, and they're taking our country down that abnormality. My brother Apostle, tell us what you have planned for the coming days, because I know you're not going to let this go, so that people can be alerted what you're doing and join you. Yeah,
I appreciate that. We stood today in Linden, and persons have begun to realize that the stance is beyond Dharamlal. And we said today in standing, Miss Thomas was there, mothers were there, grandmothers were there, grandfathers were there. So today it was a mixed multitude, and the people really meant business. We stood in opposite the regional education department, because Priya said it's their responsibility to look after our children. So if that's the case, we stand where you're supposed to be acting. And we've made a declaration that if Dharamlal is not arrested tonight, we'll be out tomorrow.
Good.
And well, he's arrested tonight.
Yes.
But we also said that on Wednesday we'll be back, because there are others who have to be dealt with. This is beyond Dharamlal, and I reiterate that. This is not going to end at Dharamlal. And I also want to announce that he has an attorney or a firm representing him. And I asked the question today, why isn't Anil Nandalal firm representing you? Why isn't Sanjeev Datta Din representing you? Why are not the big wigs in the PPP or Priya representing you? Why would it turn to you, who you said in 2019 at the no confidence stuff, that he has no sense, that he's stupid, and he lacks logic? You said that, Dharamlal. Why would you choose such a person or such a company to represent you now? I know why, and we know why.
Yes.
And you'll discover why. Our Ghanaians will see why. But I ask again, why not Anil Nandalal? He represents Jagdeo. Every matter with the PPP, he's almost there. Why not Sanjeeva or the other one from GCOM? Why not one of them? You think you're a chess player. But all you know in chess so far is to take your pawn and make one step and think you made a big move.
Yes.
You don't know the potency
of
the other players on the back of the board.
Yes. And I know some people are scratching their heads at that Brother Nigel uses form. I understand that in the legal fraternity that there is a long-standing tradition that you do not refuse to represent an accused. But we know that there's some politics behind that move. And that is what our brother is addressing here tonight. Hold your all fire on that front, because the politics is going to reveal itself. Brother Dion, your closing thoughts, and then I go back to Brother Nigel for his closing thoughts.
Well, like Brother Nigel said, I hope that the activism will continue and that more people are going to come out, because we still have to understand the nature of the people we're dealing with, that they wait for things to gloss over and then it simply disappears. And so this is not something that we can think about today, tomorrow, next week. All right. They did not put out a wanted bulletin for him or any such thing. Brother London explained everything, that, he walked into the station. The president said he went to him to ask for administrative leave. So the ball is actually in Dharam Lal's court at the moment, and not with the rightful agents who should be dealing with the matter. And the activism that
we seem to have lost Brother Dion.
If anything worthy is going to come out of this, the activism has to continue.
The activism has to continue. Brother Nigel?
Thank you, and I'm certainly grateful that I could have spent the time here with you both. I'm thankful to the people of Buxton. I said my father, my grandfather, my grandmother lived there, my relatives lived there. So I have the right to be deemed one of you, and I'm happy that you can, for some reason, see within me the courage to stand. But more than anything else, the responsibility to stand. I dare say tonight, in closing, that it seems as if we have 0 churches left in Guyana, and I'm not talking about churches chicken here, as if the religious community has gone into hiding, incognito, apparently. I don't even know if we exist any longer. Because if something of this nature could happen, when the 19 girls were killed, and the boy was killed in the dorm, I said killed by the state again.
Yes, yes.
You have said nothing. When UNICEF said that these people are in a trap, when the fire service account report said this is an accident waiting to happen, and Robeson-Ben didn't act, Dharam Lal in this capacity didn't act, the church said nothing. The Central Islamic Organization said nothing. The pundits apparently all on vacation apart from the Rhine. So something has gone wrong with us, even in the religious sector of this country. But I dare say in this case, I'm focusing on with Dharam Lal and the accusation. How could you not even come out to say that this action, you Georgetown Ministers Fellowship or whatever you are, Linden and other places, how could you not come forward to say that, man, you just say you're praying for the girl then, just say something like that. Oh, it's weak, just say it. You couldn't even issue a statement to the effect that you are angered by the mere accusation and the events that follow the accusation.
Yeah.
Look at what you've done. We've got a press association. We've got so many media houses. But you all could play who dot, raise your leg, drop your leg, bend your back, brock, whatever it is. And DJs are not on air saying that we are standing with the girl. We're standing with girls across Guyana because we want to have a clean society. But if you can have a fire in Marriott, then Thursday night after Alice morning is over, you start with stinging nettles and botheration. It tells me all you need to know of y'all.
Yeah. Yeah.
We are in crisis.
Yes, we're in crisis and we've got to
moral
work.
crisis.
Yes, yes. Thank you very much, Apostle Brother Nigel London. Thank you always for coming through and to help us to see through to the other side. Brother Dion Abrams, as usual. Thank you very much, my brother. And to all of you, I want to thank you all for coming out in your great numbers tonight. Like I said, keep coming in great numbers. Don't just wait until a scandal happens, because the more we come out on these programs in our large numbers, the more we show them that there is strength. To my people in Buxton, somebody passed the gas station and saw us there and hailed out to me from another village and asked if I'm okay. And I said, once I'm with the tribe, once I'm with the Buxtonians, I'm okay. I love you all. I love you all Buxtonians. I love you all Guyanese. I love you all African Guyanese. I love the Guyanese of all races. Of all races. I love you all because love is going to help us to see through and get through to the other side. And we've got to be single-minded about getting these people out of the way. Our country cannot be the country we want it to be with these people in office. This is just another example. These accusations, these alleged offenses about a minister, but it's more. I'm saying it's an alleged offense against a government that has been imposed on us against our will. All of us, we Africans may hurt more, but it's a government that is imposed on Indians. And I'm going to begin to address Indian Guyanese remotely because I know that I can't get to talk to you all directly. But I'm going to start talking to you all indirectly or remotely because you all are being consumed also. Martin Carter said, this I've learned, today a speck, tomorrow a hero. Hero, a monster, you are consumed. Like a jig shakes the loom. Like a web is spun the pattern. All are involved. All are consumed. I love you all. Tomorrow night, Dr. Henry Jeffrey is going to be here. And then on Wednesday, I'm going to have an all-woman panel because we're going to stay on this crime against the people of this country. It's allegations. We're keeping it clean. It's allegations against the individual minister. But for the government, it's not an allegation against the government. It's an offense that the government has committed because this person who's being accused, there's so many accusations against this person. And they were allowed to pass. I love you. I love you all. Tomorrow night, I'll be here again. And I hope you will be back with me in numbers.